This is the two basic, or this is the purpose of management. In other words, main foundations of management. Right. So we discussed then we discussed about organizations. What do you mean by organization? Organization, in order to define the organization, it must consist basically three components. What are they? Organization must have an objective or the purpose, and it must have people, and also people must be deliberately structured in order to achieve the set purpose or objective, right? So by using these three components, you can define the organization by your own way, right? But please remember to incorporate all these three components: purpose, people, and the deliberate structure, right? So now we consider that, or it is said that organizations are open systems, right? So before that, uh, let me know, what do you mean by a system? Can you give me an example for a system? Yeah, computer. Let's take the CPU, system unit. What about human body? Human, is it a system?
Collection of many systems.
Yes. For a system to be a system, it must have a subsystem. It must have, basically, it must basically has subsystems. So system basically defined as interrelated subsystems. Interrelated, because one particular system functions depending on the other subsystems functionalities, right? If you take the human body as an example, it has subsystems. What are they? Nervous system. What are the other systems in the human body? Respiratory system, right?
Cardiovascular.
Yes, digestive system. Various subsystems are there. If we dysfunction one particular subsystem, what will happen? Let's say respiratory system in a human body dysfunctions. Then what happens to the system? Entire system will be dysfunction, right? Because all the subsystems must be functioned properly, and they must be interrelated in order to have a proper functioning of the entire system. Clear? So likewise, let's say subsystems, various if you take for example draining system in a city, draining system, one particular drain stuck in with some waste, entire system dysfunctions. So likewise, system is defined as interrelated subsystems, interconnected subsystems, right? So which means that each and every, which is known as subsystems, is known as, are known as components or elements, right? Components or elements. So those components must be interrelated to function the entire system properly, right? So likewise, the organization is known as a system. The organization, whatever the organization, right? Whatever the organization we are talking about is treated as a system. So not merely a system, it is treated as a open system, as an open system. What do you mean by open systems? So the, which means that open means that there must be a human intervention for a, like, can we function, for example, can we function in a vacuum environment, a particular system, in a closed environment? In other words, think about a system which functions in a closed environment, and if you think, you find any, give me some example, give me any example. If you find, what happens in without a human intervention, like if the human does not do not intake any food, what happens?
Then circulatory system will not be able to work.
Yes, yes. So to me, to my understanding, I don't find any system which is happening in a very closed environment. To some extent, it can happen, but long-lasting systems, closed systems, we can't find. So there must be at least a human intervention to function. Input must be there in order to function. If you take a wristwatch, right, wristwatch or a wall clock, so it is happening in a closed environment, but what happens, the power level goes down to a zero. So we need to suppose that battery power wristwatch, if you take, or if you take a wind wristwatch, it runs until the wind power existed. Otherwise, it does not function. So therefore, we treat likewise organizations. Organizations cannot. Organizations basically having people, resources, purpose, and the structures. So all these cannot be performed within a closed environment, right? So we have organizations. All the inputs are taken from the society. All the inputs are taken from the society, from open sources, right? So we basically have like this. We basically have inputs, process, and output, right? So our inputs are the resources, 5Ms. 5Ms: man, machine, money, materials, and methods, right? So those things taken from the environment, right? And within the organization, we process it, right? So we manage them, in other words. We handle them, in other words, right? Work activities turn resources into outputs. We do some activities. So, and after that, at the end, we release the resources in terms of goods and services. Where? To the society as well. To the society. We take these from the society and process it in a closed environment, and finally we release them to the society as well. So therefore, we treat the organization as an open system. Open system, which means that without the environmental interaction, without the environmental intervention, we can't survive, right? So therefore, we take all the things from the environment, we process it, and finally release to the environment. So therefore, this is known as open system. Organizations are open system. There might be a question at the exam. Organizations are open system. Explain with examples. Now I guess you will be able to explain that, right? So therefore, based on those things we discussed so far, we can define the term management. This is the terminology. This is the definition, not the terminology. This is the definition of management. Management is a problem solving process. What is the problem we have? We discussed last time. What is the problem we have?
Produce unlimited goods and service using limited resources.
Very good. So that's the problem we are having. Unlimited goods and services to satisfy unlimited wants with limited resources. That is the problem we have. So therefore, in order to solve that problem, we need to do management. So management is a problem solving process of what? How we solve that problem? Effectively, through efficiency and effectiveness. So then the two words comes then. Process of effectively achieving organizational objectives, which means that always we need to make right decisions, right? So we need to make right decisions for that. Effectively achieving organizational objectives or goals through efficient use of scarce resources. So that's all about efficiency and effectiveness in a changing environment. All these happening in a changing environment. Because think about today morning. Are you now in the same mood or same stance, same position as you were in the morning? Or maybe are you now in the same position 5 minutes before as you were in 5 minutes before? Yes or no? නේ ඕගොල්ලෝ දැන් මොහොතකට කලින් හිටියා වගේද දැන් ඉන්නේ විනාඩි 5කට කලින්? I need answers for the questions. So this is a discussion. No. So which means that you are in the environment, right? So environment is always subject to the change, right? So today morning we had heavy rain. I thought that I would not be able to conduct the lecture in the morning. At least 1 hour before I had heavy thundering and raining. I was thinking, I'm wondering that I would be able to conduct the lecture at 4 o'clock. I was planning to give another day, but fortunately it was stopped nearly 3:45, right? So environment is always subject to the change. Clear? Give me few seconds. I'm having a call. Management is a problem solving process of effectively achieving organizational objectives through efficient use of scarce resources in a changing environment. So everything we need to do the management in a changing environment, right? Because so we are in a reality that this environment is subject to the change, right? So the decision we made yesterday may be totally outdated by tomorrow or today. So therefore we need to update all the ways, we need to update all the time, right? So therefore, so we need to remember that we need to do all these things in a changing environment, right? So therefore this is the definition for the management, right? As I told you in the last time, right? So if I ask a question like this, what do you mean by the term management? Explain this, right? So don't write this definition only, right? So we spend nearly 2 days to define it, right? The entire process needs to be written. So which means that you can write, I guess now with your current knowledge on management, you must be able to write at least 3 pages, A4 sheet pages, or your answer script size papers, examination answer scripts provided to you, that size of paper, three papers you must be able to write. So this is that is management. Then management in organizations, right? So now the next question, my next question is, we discuss about the management, what do you mean by, so the meaning of management was discussed now, right? So when go back to the very beginning, like the point we started that last time, right? Needs are limited, wants are unlimited, right? Unlimited wants because people satisfy their wants, unlimited wants in terms of goods and services. So therefore unlimited wants in the sense that unlimited goods and services, unlimited products, right? So we are in a problem that how we satisfy or produce our unlimited goods and services with limited resources. For that we need to use the terminology management, we need to use the management techniques and concepts, right? So management is simply means that efficiency and effectiveness. Management is simply means that efficiency and effectiveness. So that now my next question is, how you get the efficiency and effectiveness? How you get the efficiency and effectiveness? Yes, how you get the efficiency and effectiveness? What is the mechanism for doing that? So what type of mechanism you can use that? Because efficiency is simply that what you told, right? So I'm asking, how you get that?
Working to achieve the goals of the particular organization.
Yeah, that is again the same thing. How you get that? What is the mechanism that you are going to follow for that, in order to achieve that?
Use resource wisely.
Again, that is efficiency. Again, that is efficiency. I'm asking how efficiency and effectiveness. How? I'm asking how. How? How you do that? By simply 4 functions, right? We need to plan the resources, planning, right? So in order to get the things done efficiently in the sense that maximum outputs by minimum inputs, I have to plan. Proper planning need to be adjusted or adapted. Planning. Then plan things must be organized. Organized in the sense that division of activities, allocation of resources, allocation of responsibilities, right? So that is organizing. You need to have a plan, and plan things must be organized, and organized things must be led. Leadership, proper leadership, right? Planning, organizing are documented things. And how you get the things done through people, how you get these things through people. So people must be led towards following the plan and organization, planning and organizing activities. Allocate resources to the people and time targets given, and motivate them. And leadership, they must be led. Proper leadership must be given to them, and at the same time they must be motivated to do work, right? So doing all these things remains on doing this kind of planning, organizing uh, is not enough, are not enough, right? So then people, yeah, people are there as a resources. People must be led, people must be communicated, and people must be motivated to do those things, those tasks. So therefore, people management comes into play. People must be led, people must be communicated, people must be motivated, and this entire process is known as leading, right? Leading. And finally, controlling. Controlling is resource controlling. Controlling simply means that checking whether we are going as per the right track. Checking whether we are going as per the right track. If we are going on the wrong track, what happens? If you are going on the wrong track, what happens? It ultimately results to the wastage of resources, right? If you are going on the wrong track. For example, suppose if you are facing at the end of 2 years, you are facing A level examination again, suppose, right? So now you have already chosen 2 tuition classes for chemistry and physics. Now let's say for the term test given in the school, maybe uh, uh, for the term test, physics term test, you got 25 marks out of 100, right? You really worked hard for the term test, but still you got only 25 marks. You think that the tuition master is very good at physics, and he is very he's working hard to teach the students, but at the same time you are working hard, but for the examination you got only 25 marks, right? So examination itself at this point is a controlling mechanism. From that exam you understood that you have not gone through on the right track, which means that the examination results or the term test results reveal that you are still weak at some areas, for most of the areas that you have learned. So therefore you have to take immediate actions. Otherwise, if you go through the same on the if you are going on the same track as last 3 months, suppose that you are choosing the same tuition master and going towards at the end, which means that sometimes at the final examination you will get the same result, right? So then you as a resource will be wasted after 2 years. You can't enter to the university. Your resource, your time resource, your money resource, your parents resources, your own value resource, everything will be wasted. So therefore, as a controlling mechanism, right, controlling is simply checking whether you are going on the right track. Why you need to do so? Because in order to save the resources, in order to efficiency, in order to utilize the resources efficiently and effectively, right? For example, now I am checking whether I am going on the right track. I'm always asking, can you hear me? Is that okay? Right? Why? Because I need to check whether I'm going on the right track. I'm doing right lecture. Whether my voice is visible or my voice is audible. Right? Is there any interruptions, technical barriers? Otherwise, I will have to repeat it again. It's a waste for me, and it's a waste for the university as well. Right? Always you need to check whether you are going on the right track. So that is simply known as controlling. Right? So you basically input all the resources. Right? What are the resources? Resources are the inputs, 5Ms. As you can see, human resources, money, financial resource, sorry, human resources, people, man, financial resources, money, physical resources, material and machineries, information resources management, right? So as I told you, apart from the basic 5 resources, we have some other 7 names and 10 names, right? Basically, we have, as we discussed in the last time, 5 M's: man, money, material, machines, and methods. Think about those 5 resources we inputted into the organization, and those inputted resources, injected resources, need to be handled at the organization. So why we do that? Because basically what we need to do there is basically management activities. We process the management activities, right? In other words, we need to function the management activities, right? So management activities are simply known as planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, right? Planning. So those are the base: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling are the basic management functions you need to engage with in order to achieve efficiency and effectiveness, in order to get the efficiency and effectiveness of resources. So the answer for my question is planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Those are known as management functions. Clear? So then how you get efficiency and effectiveness? The question is, how you get the efficiency and effectiveness? The answer is through planning, organizing, leading, and controlling the resources, right? So then how you get the efficiency and effectiveness? Simply answers as by planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, right? So when you do those things to the resources, then finally you can get the efficiency and effectiveness. Clear? So this is the management process. This is the management process. Input the resources, then process it by management activities, and finally you get what? Efficiency and effectiveness. This is known as management process. Right. So management process is that. Right. So simply those process activities is further elaborated like this: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. So now in this course module, we are supposed to discuss all these basic functions in detail within 20 hours. So therefore, one by one, we are going to discuss these activities, management activities. First, we take planning, then organizing, leading, and controlling. Right? Within this coming 20 hours, we are going to discuss these things in detail. So planning and decision making in simple for now, right? Until we discuss in detail later on. So for now, basically planning is setting objective and developing strategies to achieve the objectives. Setting objective, right? So you must have a target at the beginning. So that is planning, and not only the target but also the strategy achieve that target. Suppose that just after your O level, right? Just after your O level, you soon think that let's say you set a target to achieve 4 A's or 3 A's at the examination, A level examination. Now you have a target, right? Having target only is not enough. Having target only is not enough. You must have a strategy or action plan that enables you to achieve the set target. You must have an action plan how you activate the target, right? So target is the 3 A's. Now you must have at the same time at the point you are thinking about the target, at the point you are setting the target, simultaneously think about the strategy as well. You need to plan the strategy as well, right? So mechanism, how you achieve the target. Mechanism in the sense that strategy is known as strategy. Strategy is the action plan, the ways by which you achieve the target. For example, you have a time plan, shorter time plan and longer time plan for 2 years, right? Daily time plan, weekly time plan, right? Action plan, daily action plan, right? Weekly action plan, monthly action plan, right? Quarter action plan, and semi-annually action plan and annual action plan. Annual action plan, you have annually 2 action plans for the first year and the second year. So then at the end of the 2 years, then you face the examination and finally you get the 3 years. If you have activated properly the set action plan and the target, so then finally you will be able to achieve the target, right? So that's how that's really happening in the real world as well, right? So in 2000, Microsoft changed their vision, which has already been set in the 1980s, right? Can you understand what I'm telling? Microsoft changed their vision target. Why? Because they have already achieved that. So then now at the 2000, in year 2000, they set another new target. Now it is almost achieved for 2020, right? Most probably, I don't know whether they have already changed, might have changed, right? So normally target is set for 2 years in 20 years for management, right? So therefore, not for the 20 years that in your case, right? So you have already planned for 2 years when it comes to the A levels, right? So likewise, you must have a target, and along with that target, you must decide, you must have a mechanism, you must have a plan, proper mechanism how to achieve that. So that is strategy. So basically, depending on that, you define the planning as this: how setting targets and developing strategies to achieve those targets, right? For example, as you suppose that, for example, your target is 3 years, right? 3 years. Then what will be the strategies? One strategy may be 2 tuition classes for each subject. So then altogether 6 tuition classes you have already selected, right? And when you selecting those tuition classes, you highly concerned about the number of A's produced by those tuition masters during the past examinations, during past 10 years. You analyze really based on such analysis, you select tuition masters, and you have a daily plan, right? From morning, let's say you have a timetable, daily timetable. You wake up 4 o'clock, 4 to 6, let's say you read chemistry, and 6 to 7 basic preparation activities for schooling, right? And you allocate the from 7 to 2 o'clock schooling, and you come home by 3 o'clock, and 2 to 3 you are having a rest, and nearly 4, let's say 3 to 5 o'clock you have tuition. You allocate that time for the tuition, and 5 to 7 you have a rest time, and 7 to 8 you have meal time, dinner time, and you start 9 working at 9 to 11 maybe physics. Now you missed one subject, right? So then the rest missed subject is prioritized by the next in the next day. So likewise you must have a uh, daily plan and weekly plan, right? So in the week in a week in a week plan, you must ensure that all the subjects have been covered, what you have learned in the tuition and the school as well, remembering and refreshing uh, all the things what you have done during the past week, doing past papers, right? Another strategy may be doing past papers for each uh, lesson completed. Soon after each lesson is completed, doing past papers, right? So various strategies you can follow in order to achieve that. And one another strategy may be quarter level strategy, having more than let's say earning more than 75 marks for each subject at the term test. Another strategy, uh, uh, quarter level, or not month level, quarter level, because you have a term test examination on term basis. So first term, each term you have for 2 years, uh, how many terms? 3 9 6 terms, right? So then you try to get at least more than 75 marks for each and every term test. So that is another strategy. You need to work for that, right? So likewise, setting targets and developing strategies, that is mainly known as planning. Clear? So we'll discuss these things later on in detail, but for now, so that is the basics of planning. Right. Then organizing. Organizing simply means that determine how activities and resources are grouped. For example, setting daily timetables and allocating time for each activity. Right? Allocating time. Who do the things? For example, washing activities, washing your clothes, meal preparation is assigned to your mom or dad, right? Rather than doing you, because you are doing an important task during this 2 year period. So therefore allocating resources to somebody else for certain activities, and allocating resources by himself or herself for doing some certain tasks, right? So can be done at the organizing. So basically selecting activities, because already you have an action plan. So those action plans, you determine how the resources are allocated, your time resources, your effort resources, your money resources, and the other people's resources, how those are allocated into the action plans is known as organizing, right? So then leading means your own motivation when it comes to you for the exam. uh, Proper communication, what you need to be communicated to your parents, right? Proper communication, leadership, proper leadership. So all these three things uh, must be in you when it comes to uh, your A level examination, for example, right? If you are managing somebody else, right? Suppose that you are a department head, pharmacy department head, and obviously as the head you need to do this, because you are having an action plan. University have given an action plan in order to achieve the university's mission and vision, right? So then as the leader, as the person who managing the pharmacy department, you need to do this activity, leadership, because you have people, you need to monitor whether they are doing the activities well properly, right? So properly in the sense that how you do that is properly motivating them to work, to implement the strategies, motivation, encouragement, inspiration, right? Then motivating. What is the other one? Communicating, right? Properly communicating them. Communicating in the sense that what I think must be communicated as it is to the others. For example, I am talking about a coconut tree, right? The same coconut tree must be understood by you if I am a very good communicator, right? Likewise, what the sender intends must be received as it is to the receiver, right? So then we can get the things as we expect, right? Otherwise, if there is a wrongful communications, miscommunications, what I meant, what I meant, what I what I thought, right, is not be fulfilled, will not be fulfilled by the other parties because of the wrongful communication, miscommunication. So therefore, say for example, I am talking about a jack tree. If you are thinking about a coconut tree, maybe a miscommunication. So likewise, I asked to purchase some goods for the organization, but somebody has the one who received that my message maybe have done some other thing, maybe a cause of a miscommunication, right? So therefore, so that ultimately results to waste the resources, waste the time due to the miscommunication. So therefore, proper communication must be there, right? So that task is done by communication, leadership, proper leadership. What is leadership? These things will be discussed later on in detail. Leadership is giving proper guidance and inspiration, right? Leadership, proper communication, and proper motivation, because people are getting bored when doing the same thing repeatedly, tired, right? So therefore, fed up, in other words. So therefore, people must be motivated, inspired, people must be energized by us always in order to get the things done. So that is our responsibility. That can be done through proper leading. So leading is another management function. Clear? So then the finally finally controlling. Controlling, as I told you, checking whether we are going on the right track, always evaluating, monitoring whether we are going as per the plan. For example, you sit for the term test examination. Some argue that sitting term test examination is not needed, not necessarily needed, right? So, but for you, because you had a plan, you have in the plan you have a strategy to sit for the term test examination, and for each subject you get more than 75 marks, by which you measure your level of understanding, you monitor or you control your activities, right? So therefore, as a controlling management activity, as a controlling as a management activity, you need to do that, right? Monitoring or checking whether you are going on the right track, you are performing as per the plan, in other words, as per the strategy. Otherwise, if you are not performing as per the plan or deviating the plan, means that you are wasting resources, because you have planned everything. For example, if you take as we took for your examinations, A-level examination, right? So you need to make, in the planning, you need to make sure the entire 2-year period is utilized efficiently and effectively. If you utilize it properly and effectively and efficiently, definitely you will have the 3S. So therefore, those are the management functions: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Right? So mechanisms, the way how that can be done will be discussed in detail in later topics coming. So up to this point, anything you want me to clarify more than what I discussed, the extent I discussed? Right. So what is a manager? Manager is a one who manage the resources, someone whose primary responsibility is to carry out management process. Anyone who is carrying out the management process is known as a manager, right? Someone whose plans, in other words, carrying out management process in the sense that the one who is carrying out management process in the sense that he is doing planning, he is planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, simply performing the management activities. The one who is performing management activities, in other words, or simply, in other words, the one who is performing planning, sorry, the one who is planning, organizing, leading, and controlling is, right, resources. Resource management. Resource management is that 5 M's need to be handled. Anyone who is handling the 5 M's, handling in the sense that planning, organizing, leading, and controlling the 5 M's. Kinds of managers by level and area. Kinds of managers by level and area. Now, let's say like this. We have basically organizations, as we discussed, right? In organizations, we can see basically 3 levels. In any organization, the management in any organization, if you take the entire organization, entire management, when it comes to managing the entire organizations, that can be splitted, the management can be splitted into 3 areas, basically 3 levels, in fact, right? So 3 levels. So what are those 3 levels, right? So any organization, we can see those 3 levels, right? So we have a top people, top management, right? And we have middle level management, and we have operational level management, right? Think about our university. Who are the top level managers in our university?
Vice Chancellor.
Yes, council and the senate members. Council and the senate members are the top management. Then middle managers, the deans of the faculties is a middle manager. Operational managers, department heads, right? So department, they are the people who operationalize everything, doing lectures and guiding lectures, supervising lectures, right? Whether they are conducting, implementing the timetables, all the things, right? So we have, if you take a bank, can you see these things? 3 levels. People in the head office, top management, GM, chairman, general manager, chairman, right? Represent and general managers if representing all divisions like foreign currency unit, let's say banking, let's say lending, pawning, leasing, right? What else? Foreign currencies, um, let's say front office, right? Investments, right? Various main area managers, right? Those are known general managers, right? Or maybe functional managers represent the top manager. Middle managers are regional managers. So we have a southern province regional manager for Bank of Ceylon. RMs, regional managers. For northern province, there is a regional manager. For Ur province, we have a regional manager, right? So they are under the top management. They are the middle managers. And we have branch managers. For each and every branch, we have a branch manager. They are known as operational managers. Operational managers, right? So in any kind of an organization, these three levels can be seen, right? So these top managers are known as tactical or strategic managers. They are the people who set goals and strategies for the entire organization. They are the people who engage in planning for the coming future, right? So then middle managers we have. So they are the people who is responsible for communicating uh, plans to the lower level managers or operational level managers. They are the people who interact with top managers and the lower managers. Think about a regional manager of a Bank of Ceylon, regional manager, what he does, right? His basic roles. He is a purely a regional manager. Regional manager is a purely a middle manager. Oh, those are known as those. They are known as tactical managers, technical, and operation people who are in the field, who are in the field, front line, right? So this is known as organization is a pyramidal type. Why the organization? Because this pyramid denotes the organization, denotes an organization. Clear? Right? So depending on that, you may have heard about different functions are there in organization. We have marketing managers, we have finance managers, we have human resource managers in a private in a government setup like University of Ruhuna. We can't see that type of organizational setup, but when it comes to the private sector organizations, right? So in pharmaceutical organizations, most this kind of structure can be seen, right? Marketing, finance, operations, R&D, administrations, transportations, ICT. We have different area managers, right? Those are known as, they are known as functional managers, different functional areas, right? So depending on functional manager, for example, we have a top manager representing this marketing area, top manager of marketing. We have the same middle managers relating to the same level, and we have operational managers relating to the same level, right? So therefore, uh, so these are known as areas of managers, and these are known as levels of management, levels and areas. Area is these columns. These rows denotes the levels, right? There are three basically rows. There are three rows basically. Clear? Right. So kinds of managers by level: top managers, middle managers, and front line managers, or first line managers. The same terminology is given for top level managers. Let's say top level managers are known as strategic managers. Strategic managers. A similar name for the top manager is known as strategic managers, and a similar synonym for the tactical managers is middle managers, and the operational manager synonym is first line managers, right? As you can see, they are the relatively small group of executives, as you can see. So the area here is somewhat larger than this top level, right? So that's why we say that pyramidal type organization, because as per the organization theory, the only one can have the opportunity to go to the top. For example, we don't have many presidents in Sri Lanka. We don't have many vice chancellors in Sri Lanka. In our university, we don't have, right? So even in your family, we have only one headed by the family, maybe father or mother, right? So if you have two heads, what will happen? We'll discuss later on, right? So that's contrary, that's different to the organization theory. That's basically violating the organization principles of organization theory. If you have two heads or many heads, many heads leading the organization, so that's totally opposing the principles of organization theory. So that's another area to learn. Organization theory is coming under the management, is a substream of management. Right. So you don't have the opportunity to learn that, but for now I will refresh you. I will give you small knowledge, very few things on that. So as I told you, only one person can have the opportunity to go to the top, right? So when you go down, cascading down into the from the organization structure, then you have the base is large. When you go to the top, it becomes it ended up with one, right? So therefore, so this level is somewhat smaller than the other levels, right? So therefore, relatively small group of executives who manage the organization's overall goal, strategy, and operating policies. They are the people who are responsible to set goals, plan, strategies, and everything, right? So they are the main decision makers for the organization. For example, this Senate and the Council, University of Ruhuna, make all the decisions, whether passing a student, whether failing a student, whether university closed down or whether university opens during the pandemic, right? So they are the people who make the decisions. They are the people who, let's say, for example, you have now a building being constructed, and they are the people who initiated that, right? So Faculty of AHS has been approved by the form developed by the Senate people, established by the Senate people, top people, and we are the people who implement that, right? So the first line managers are the people who implement those plans, terminologies, plans and strategies, right? Middle managers are the people who support to both these parties, implement the top management policies and plans, supervise and coordinate lower level managers' activities. For example, Dean supervise the faculty, each departments. At the same time, Dean represents the top managers in the council, and they are the kind of they are the people who they are the intermediaries, right? Right, kinds of the same thing. Just go through the same thing. They develop company goals, focus on long-term issues, emphasize the growth and overall effectiveness of the entire organization, right? So they are the people who interact mostly with the external environment. For example, Vice Chancellor is the one who go to the UGC and who is representing the University of Ruhuna with external parties. He is the one who discuss with the government, and he is the one who discuss with the suppliers. He is the one who discuss with the legislative authorities, right? So top management people, and your dean or your maybe department head not is not going to discuss with external parties on behalf of the University of Rona. So top people are the representatives for those kind of activities, right? So then tactical managers has a shorter time horizon than the top managers time horizon, and they mainly focus on coordinating resources, right? Lower level managers are the one who supervise the operations of the organization. Think about your pharmacy department head, directly involved with non-management employees. They are the people who directly involved with non-managerial employees like us, right? He is the one, she is the one, your pharmacy department head is the one who deals with the lecturers, students, and the non-academic people. Vice Chancellor or Dean is not coming to deal with us, deal with you, right? So they are the people, because Vice Chancellor deals with the Dean only, right? Dean deals with the department heads, and department head deals with the lecturers and the students and the non-academic people in the department. So therefore, they are the people who deals with non-managerial people, right? For example, if you take a bank, are the head office people coming to visit the customers on a regular basis? No, they are not coming, right? So branch manager is the one who meets regularly customers and suppliers, customers mainly, right? So therefore, and they are the people who implement the specific plans, targets, policies made by the top management. They are playing the critical role in the organization. Operational managers are link between management and non-management employees, right? Different kinds of managers by area. As I told you, we have marketing managers, financial. Marketing managers are responsible for marketing activities. Suppose that, for example, you produce a drug, then marketing is done by that department, marketing, right? Marketing, since you may have learned now these days, you are learning marketing. What is marketing? I'm not going to touch that. Dr. Tusita is doing that, I guess. And financial managers, Mr. Vijita is doing that, financial management, right? Financing activities, accounting activities, right? Uh, Basically done by those people. And operational managers, production activities, right? Operational managers, the main activity they are doing. For example, if you are a learning organization like University of Rome, our operation is teaching. If it is when it comes to a bank, operational activities are lending and saving. If you take a garment factory, operations activities are production department, sewing department, or production department. If you are a drug producing company, maybe drug production, vaccine production, right? Pill production, right? Likewise. So main activity they are doing is known as operational department, operational managers. Then human resource managers. If you have people managing the people, activities done by this department. And administration activities. Basically, we have rules and procedures, right? So those whether people are following rules and procedures is administered by this department. And other kinds of various other kinds. We have supply chain division, logistic department, we have transportation division, we have stores, we have let's say research and development, we have ICT, right? Various other areas as well when it comes to an organization. We have welfare department, right? Right. Then next one is the skills and the manager. In order to be a manager must develop certain skills for doing the managerial activities. If you don't have such skills, you are not competent enough, or at the end you are not you will not be able to be a successful manager if you don't have such skills. So therefore researchers have found that these, right, what I'm going to tell you now, the skills what I'm going to tell you now, introduce you now, must be essential to be a manager, right? Essential to be a manager, otherwise you will not successful, be able to successful at the end, right? So if you are thinking about thinking to be a planning to be a manager in any area, so ultimately before that you need to develop these uh, skills required to be a good manager, right? So what are they? Technical skills, interpersonal skills, conceptual skills, diagnostic skills, communication skills, decision making skills, and time management skills. Those are essential. Those are the fundamental skills need to be developed by a manager, right? So what is technical skill? Techniques, you need to know the concepts, theories, techniques. Techniques in the sense that you must be competent enough in your area. Technicality, for example, if I'm teacher, I must thoroughly known about I must thoroughly aware about the teaching methodologies, the way how I need to teach, right? So that is the technical skills. The doctor must use, for example, we have many enough doctors who can't treat uh, uh, make a treatment or medication well to a patient, right? So uh, uh, they have the knowledge, but they are not skillful. We have some other doctors, just visiting is enough, and having only a few kind words is enough to uh, get well, recover, in other words, from illness, right? So technical skills are necessary to accomplish or understand the specific kind of work being done in an organized specific area of work, ability to do certain area of work. So that is a technical skill, right? So as a manager, you must, for example, if you are a human resource manager, if you are a marketing manager, if you are a production manager, right, you must be technical enough, you must be skillful enough for your area, in your area, right? So that is technical skills. Then interpersonal skills, as you know, when you are a manager, right, whatever type of a manager, you need to deal with people. Maybe sometimes even sometimes you may not be labeled as a manager. Sometimes you may be a director of a hospital. It's a purely a manager. Maybe a head of nurse, matron, right? So maybe, for example, like your pharmacy department head. He's not a manager. He's not designated as a manager, but doing purely a management activity, doing management function purely, even though she is not labeled as designated as a manager, right? So therefore we have various types, various even though they have not been designated as managers, we have chief engineer, we have a doctor, we have a head of nurses, we have let's say director hospital, right? So we have a dean, we have department head, we have vice chancellor. All these people are managers, right? So therefore, all these people need to work with people, deal with people. For example, your pharmacy department head need to deal with the lecturers, need to deal with the non-academic staff, need to deal with students. So they are people, right? So dealing with people is a skill, proper dealing with people, because some people can't deal with people, and most of the people don't have that skill. So people management, people interpersonal relationship skills must be developed. Interpersonal skills must be developed, right? How many of you having the same friend you had, still you have the same friend when you had in your grade 5 or grade 1? How many of you having, still you have the relationship as it was in the grade 5 or grade 1? How many of you now? Those who are having long lasting friendships, anyone? So maybe having very good interpersonal relationships. Interperson, the ability to communicate with, understand and motivate both individuals and group. කටඇරියොත් අපිට කාගේ කටඇරියොත් එපා වෙනවා. නේ කටෑරියෝ කුණු කතාවක් කියන්නේ නේ ඒකත් එක්කන hina වෙන්නවත් හිතෙන්නේ මම නම් සාමාන්‍ය මිනිසුත් එක්ක hina වෙන්නේ ඕනවට වැඩිය කරට ගන්නෑ මම නම් මිනිස්සු people are saying those type of words maybe having very less they are lacking the interpersonal skills සමහරක් අය බලන්නකොනේ සමහරක් අය හරිම දක්ෂයි මේ සම්බන්ධතා ගොඩ නගා ගන්න ඒව පවත්වාගෙන යන්න නිකන් ඉන්නකොට ටක් ගාලා කෝල් එකක් දෙනවා නේ they are competent enough to maintain relationships පාරේ ගියත් මිනිස්සෙක් එක්ක hina වෙනවා හඳුරන්නේ නැති වුණත් කතාවකට අල්ල ගන්නවා නේ interpersonal relationships is a skill දැන් ගෑල් ළමයි එහෙම පාරේ යනකොට hina වෙවි interpersonal skills develop කරගන්න ඕනයි කියලා යන්න එපා අපේ රටේ නම් ඉතින් හරි අමාරුයි නේද interpersonal skills maintain කරන්න ගියොත් අන්තිමට පෞල් කාලා තමයි නතර ගන්න වෙන්නේ right interpersonal skills conceptual skills conceptual understanding for example as a management teacher if someone asks from me sir what do you mean by management මම කලාන්ති දාලා කකුල් වෙවුලලා දාඩිය දාලා වැටුනොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ නේ I don't have the conceptual understanding මේ දොස්තර මහත්තයෙක් ඉන්ජෙක්ෂන් එකක් ගහ ගන්න ගිහලා වෙවුලලා දාඩිය දාලා හත් දමාගෙන වැටෙනවා නම් මොකද වෙන්නේ ලේ චුට්ටක් දැක්කම කලන්තය ඇදලා වැටෙනවා නම් අනේ මට නම් බෑ ඔය තුවාලෙට බෙහෙත් දාන්න මට නම් බෑ කියලා වෙවුලලා වැටුනොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ that is part of a skill this is not a conceptual understanding right conceptual understanding means abstracts that is a manager's ability to think in abstract right? So you go to a doctor you visit a doctor and telling some symptoms of an illness then from the symptoms that you are telling to the doctor understand what's the case what's the problem and what's the illness so then that in that case he is having conceptual understanding he is having this kind of a disease නේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ කියනවනේ ડોක්ටර් මට මෙහෙම අමාරුවක් තියෙනවා නරල කැරකිල්ල වගේ හේවසෙම ගලනවා කන් දෙකෙන් ලේ පෙරෙනවා නේ කේස් යනවා කිව්වහම මේ දොස්තර හිතා ගන්නවා රයිට් මේක තමයි මේකේ ලෙඩි එහෙම කියද්දි දොස්තරට හිතා ගන්න බැරි නම් he is not having the conceptual understanding right ඒ වගේ මැනේජර් කෙනෙක් වුණාම අපිට තමන්ගේ area එකෙන් common area එකෙන් where is the problem නේ can be understood by the symptoms nature of the problem and what are the root causes of the problem and how that can be solved can be clearly understood by the symptoms think in abstract right overall thinking in other words then diagnostic skills so he must be diagnosed what happens diagnostic skill visualize from the symptoms so maybe situation ප්‍රශ්නය දිහා දැක්කහම ඉවෙන් වගේ දැනෙන්න ඕනේ දෙකක් behavior එකක් මොන හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් දැක්කොත් problem must be able to understood properly right communication as I told you must be a very good communicator ගොඩාක් මිනිස්සුන්ට තමන් හිතන දේ කියා ගන්න බෑ තමන් හිතන දේ කියා ගන්න බෑ clearly සමහරක් අයට මූණ බලලා බනින්න බෑ නේ අපිට සමහරක් අයට බනින්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ සමහරක් අයට කියන්න ඕන දේ කියන වෙලාවට කියන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ right ඒක මූණට කියන්න බෑ සමහරක් අයට කියන්න ඕන දේ කෙලින් කියා ගන්න බෑ සමහරක් අයට එහෙම වෙන්න බෑ very good communicator that is a skill manager must be a very good communicator right for that he must have the communication skills right communication ගොඩාක් අය මේ confuse මොනවාද ගොඩාක් අය මේක මේ වැරදි විදියට use කරනවා communication කියන්නේ english කියලා english නෙවෙයි in any language the idea must be conveyed to the receiver as the idea intended by the sender, the one who sent. The classic example is, if I am the sender, if I am the teacher, I am talking about a coconut tree. The same coconut tree must be understood by the receivers as you. Right? If you are thinking about a jack tree, I am not a good teacher. I am not a good communicator because I am not communicating well about the coconut tree I am talking about. Right? In that case, what I am talking about must be understood as it is, what I am thinking in you. Right? In that case, I am a good communicator. Right? So therefore, මේ ඕගොල්ල මං කියපු දේ හරියට අවබෝධ කරගත්තොත් නේ මගේ instructions follow කරන්නේ. වැරදිට අවබෝධ කරගත්තොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? Resource waste එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right. Decision making. What is a decision? ඕගොල්ලෝ කියනවා අද නම් මං තීරණයක් ගන්නවා. එක්ක මැරෙනවා එක්ක ජීවත් වෙනවා. ඕගොල්ලෝ කියනවා නේ ඕගොල්ලන්ගෙන් ගෑල් ළමයෙක්ගෙන් අහන අපේ පිරිමි ළමයෙක් නංගි අදවත් තීරණයක් ගත්තේ නැද්ද? නේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ කියනවා අනේ මට නම් අයියේ තීරණයක් ගන්න බෑ අපි අම්මගෙන් අහන්න ඕනේ. එක්ක මගේ පෙම්වතාගෙන් අහන්න ඕන තීරණයක් ගන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක්. So what is a decision?
Solution for a problem.
Solution for a problem. Yes. Yes. Solution. Solution. That is partly correct, but some things are lacking in that answer. Right? Solutions, the best solution from alternative solutions. Right? So decision is an option from various options. මං කිව්වේ අද නම් මං තීරණයක් ගන්නවා. එක්ක මැරෙනවා එක්ක ජීවත් වෙනවා. මොකද්ද මේ? You have two options. Out of these two options you select one. That one is the decision. නේ නංගි මට කැමතිද? එතකොට ඒ නංගිගෙන් තව කෙනෙකුත් අහනවා. නේ එතකොට ඒ නංගිට තෝරගන්න වෙනවා විකල්ප දෙකකින් එකක්. එක්ක තනිකඩ ඉන්නවද එක්ක නැත්නම් අරයා තෝරගන්නවද? විකල්ප 3-4ක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. මහාන වෙනවා එක විකල්පයක්. එක්ක තනිකඩම ඉන්නවා. තව විකල්පයක්. එක්ක බඳිනවා. බඳින්න 4 දෙනෙක් යෝජනා වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒ 4 දෙනෙක්ගෙන් එක්කෙනෙක් ඔය ඔප්ෂන්ස් ටිකෙන් එකක් තෝරගන්නවා. That is a decision. Right? එතකොට as a manager you have various problems. Right? For various problems you have various answers, alternative answers. Out of all these various answers you need to make one, most viable one, most profitable decision you need to make towards the organization. Otherwise ultimately, that's why we say that decision making ability is then it's coming along with the effectiveness. Right? Effectiveness. In order to be an effectiveness, you need to make decision. Decision making is making an always right decision. Right decision is an option one, most viable option you can make, you can take. Right? So therefore this අපි බලන්නකො කෙනෙක් තීරණයක් දැන් how many of you have what do you call this in how many of you were very much uncomfortable when making a decision to come to the whether coming or not towards following the pharmacology degree? How many of you? දවස් කීයක් හිතුවද? එනවද නැද්ද? එනවද නැද්ද? අර යනවද මෙහෙ යනවද? නේ? අද දවල්ට කන්නේ මොනවද? කියලා කොච්චර වැළපුණාද කී දෙනෙක්? නැත්තම් අහවල් ගමන යනවද? නේ? Why? Because if you are waiting, think about always options and still not have chosen one option, is your inability in decision making. Right? Most of the people are doing this. They are not quick decision makers. But for a manager, you need to, because time is money in managerial work. Time is money. කාලය කියන්නේ මුදල්, right? Wasting time is a wasting a purely a resource. ඒක නිසා you need to make immediate decisions, quick decisions, good decisions, quick and good simultaneously. So that is an ability, skill, right? And at the same time, another important skill must be developed, that is time management, right? Various things, different options, diverse options need to be functionalized within nearly 8 to 9 hours in a corporate world, right? 8 to 9 hours. දවසකට වැඩ රාජකාරි විශාල ප්‍රමාණයක් තියෙනවා. Those things must be done in a very limited time. නේ? ඔයගොල්ලෝ අහලා ඇති අර කවුද? ජැක් මා පහුගිය දවසේ කතාවක් වීඩියෝ වල ෂෙයා වුණා. I don't know whether I can find it right now. නේ? එයා කිව්වා පසුගිය අවුරුදු 18 තුල එයාගේ හරි ලස්සන කතාවක්. සාමාන්‍ය කොම්පැනියක් අවුරුදු 70ක් වැඩ කරන ටික අලිබබා කොම්පැනි එක අවුරුදු 18කින් achieve කරගත්තලු. Right? So that's the message I want to take. එතකොට ඒකට තමයි අපිට we have only 24 hours. Out of that 24 hours, only 9 to 10 hours available to do whatever the thing we want to do. Right? එතකොට බලන්න අලිබබා කොච්චර ලෝකේ ඉන්න විශිෂ්ට ගණේ ඉන්කම් එකක් තියෙන, ටර්නෝවර් එකක් තියෙන විශිෂ්ට කම්පැනි එකක්. එතකොට ඒ කට්ටිය සාමාන්‍ය කම්පැනියක් වසර 70ක් වැඩ කරපු එක අවුරුදු 18කින් ඒ ටාගට් එකට ගිහිල්ලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට හිතන්න කොච්චර අමාරුවෙන් නේ. එයාම කියනවා අපි වැඩ කරා හරි මහන්සියෙන්. එයාගේ ටීම් එක ඊටත් වැඩිය මහන්සියෙන් වැඩ කරා. So that is time management skill. That's their skill. Right? So in order to be a good manager, so your time management, you have to be very careful in managing the time, because that's a matter of your health ultimately. Results to your bad health. So therefore, managing time is a kind of a skill that you need to develop. Right. So those are the management skills, basic management skills a manager need to develop, managerial skills. And apart from that, 3 basic skills required. There is a model developed by Katz, Elizabeth Katz and Kahn. Katz, essential managerial skills developed by that person. Katz is the person who developed this particular model, and he proposes that the basic three skills need to be developed, and the levels of skill needed varies depending on the level of the management as per his model. That's the model he proposed, and idea of that is there are basically 3 levels required to be a good manager, right? There are basically 3 levels to be a good manager, and the degree to which each level, the degree to which each skill required for each level varies according to the management level, right? So that can be illustrated, that is illustrated in this particular model, in this picture, right? In this picture. So this is these columns denotes the skills, and these rows denotes the management level, right? So we have lower level, middle level, and the top level, right? So we have here, you can see this as I draw. This is lower level, and this is middle level, and this is top level. When you go up from lower level, right? So you climb the organizational ladder. So which means that so all these three skills required to be a manager, but different levels when you go, when you are in the different levels in the organizational level of requirement differs in terms of the level of the management, right? For example, if you are a global level manager, so this is the extent that you need conceptual skills. But think about this area I'm drawing, right? So this area is somewhat larger than this area, right? And the level required is much, right? If you draw similar columns, right? Similar columns, right? If I like this, similar size columns. Again, right? So then you can understand, right? So this conceptual, when it comes to the conceptual skills for lower level managers, very small amount required. Then middle level management, little bit higher. And when it comes to the top level managers, conceptual skills are larger, required in larger amount, right? When it comes to the human skills, equal, right? All the levels, equal extent, right? So when you are in a with a either lower level, middle level, or top level, so you require equal degree of human skills because uh, uh, whatever the level you are in, ultimately deals with people in any level. Ultimately, when you are a top level, you have people to deal with. When you are a middle level, you have people to deal with. And when you are a lower level, obviously you have people to deal with, right? uh, so therefore, uh, at any level, you may have people to deal with. So therefore, you must have the human relation skills equally, regardless of the level, right? So when it comes to technical skills, the degree, larger degree is required to the lower level managers, lower level lower degree required to the top level managers, right? So which means that these people, when it comes to these people are dealing with conceptual related things. For that type of managers, the conceptual understanding, like overall understanding about the company concepts and overall view, visionary view or visionary understanding what happened in the near future, what will happen to the business in the coming 10 years, right? So, and what are the main, by looking at simple symptoms, they can understand the problem. They must be able to understand the problem, right? So those things are conceptual related skills. So therefore, uh, those skills must be highly developed in larger extent, developed by top level managers, right? So when it comes to the uh, very lower level managers, they are the technical people, they are the operationalized people. So therefore, they must have the technical skills in a larger scale, extent, degree, right? So that does not mean that top level managers do not need what do you call this, technical skills. They require certain amount of technical skills, but when it comes to the degree to which uh, level or the extent to which the required is differ when it comes to the level. So that's what we need to understand, uh, proposed by CARDS. So basically known as CARDS essential managerial skill. If you may be asked at the examination, So definitely there will be a question like, don't confuse with these two ideas. Basically, the first one we discussed relating to the first one we discussed, that's about when it comes to the skills, we commonly the fundamental managerial skills. If you ask at the examination what do you mean by fundamental managerial skills, then you need to write about 8 skills, right? Those 6 skills, 6 or 8, yes, 2 4 6 7, right? 7 skills, right? If you ask like this, Khan's essential managerial skills, you need to explain that. Essential managerial skills. Don't confuse with these two terminologies, right? Essential managerial skills and fundamental management skills. Fundamental and essentials are two different things, right? So if you ask fundamental managerial skills, you have to write about six managerial skills. And if you ask essential management skills, according to Katz, then you need to write about this, right? And so this is a new topic, and before starting, I have a few more minutes to come to the 6 o'clock. So therefore, I think this is the time to wind up the session, and we'll proceed there onward from these slides onwards by next time.